What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are back with another All-22 look. Today, we're taking a look at this Lions-Ravens game. Now, look, I was really not going to do this video. I was going to take the approach of, like we talked about in the past, where you have a really bad week, it's a really bad game, and you just bury that game film. You just move forward, act like it did not happen, and we're moved on to the next week. I was very tempted to do that, to not even do a video on this game. But ultimately, I came back here a little bit late and said, you know what? I'm going to do the video. The trade deadline's coming up. There's certain players that I maybe want to talk about a little bit, and I can if we do the All-22 video. So I'm still going to do it, but we're not doing two of them. I'm not doing offense and defense, and I plan on kind of getting in and getting out with this video. I tried not to show a lot of the clips that we talked about in the takeaways video, though there are a few in here because you can get the All-22 view. I am going to show a little bit of good, though there's a lot of bad. And on top of that, there are certain players that I really didn't highlight in this All-22 look, like, for example, Jahmyr Gibbs. Definitely could have taken a look at some of his runs, but I didn't want to make this video super long because we were showcasing little things like that. Jahmyr Gibbs, really nice game. Also getting Josh Paschal back out there, I think that was very promising. I think he's going to have a nice role. And understanding that the trade deadline is coming up, the Lions' decision to play Julian, not have Charles Harris, that definitely could have something to do with wanting to see what they had before the trade deadline hit. That would make a ton of sense. And maybe the Lions sit back and say, you know what? We want to dabble a little bit in that edge defender market. Could absolutely be the case. Though I do feel like with certain players, they're just kind of names in the sense of their names gets thrown out there and it's like, whoa, that's an upgrade. And I'm watching these guys last night and I'm like, I don't know if that guy's even an upgrade. Like, I wouldn't give up a draft pick for that. I think there are certain players that clearly fall into that, where the Lions would just be making a trade to make a trade. I think you definitely want to get decisively a better piece if you're going to make a move, specifically at that position. We need someone decisively better, and I think there's a few out there. Some of them, like, okay, Brian Burns. Yeah, he's going to cost a ton. I think Chase Young is one of the most interesting pieces. All right, I didn't love him at first, and then I continued to watch him. Like, no, you know what? He's actually got really high upside as a pass rusher, and that would be something completely different as an element to this defensive front that we really don't have. Opposite of Aiden Hutchinson, I still don't love his run defense or his effort as a run defender. I don't love those two things, so it still kind of pulls me back a little bit. But a guy like that's intriguing, especially when you see how the prices can match up, all of those things. But the point is, there's a lot of things that we're going to talk about in this video, but there's not a ton of good that we're going to look at. So let's dive right into it. I'll try to talk through some different positions. I'll give Baltimore credit because, you know, I didn't walk away from this game thinking, man, they dotted us up. Oh, they were cooking us in coverage. They were just bang, bang, bang. Like, that's not what I took away from this one. Honestly, they had more opportunities to hit passes that they did not hit in this game when watching it back, but that's also not their offense. I mean, Baltimore, credit to them. They did a really nice job schematically. They had wide open receivers multiple times. A couple times guys weren't even covered by us defensively, and I thought they did a great job attacking the youth that we had in certain spots, like Jack Campbell playing a Sam Backer role because we don't have James Houston. It's not his natural position. I thought they attacked that multiple times. You saw it in the first touchdown run. You would see it in coverage. I thought they attacked that. Also, Will Harris had to start at corner. I really think there could have been more meat on the bone that they could have attacked there, but it was really like the one spot play on 3rd and long where he's in quarters and he gives up the deep out route and they pick up the first down. But that's not even where I felt like we were exposed in this game, because there were times where they had guys seemingly open, needing to throw the football. I thought we were exposed a lot of times underneath within the front seven. Breakdowns, we'd be a step late, or at times we'll take a look at when Lamar Jackson rolls out and the tight end's completely uncovered. It was things like that. It was little things like that, and I think Dan Campbell said it the best. It was like we took a shotgun to our foot. He walked away thinking, look, oh man, Lamar just had a great game, and then he came back and was like, yo, we kind of gave him a lot of stuff. We gave them a lot of stuff, and I'm going to showcase some of those plays, not all of them. Then offensively, there's not a lot I'm going to showcase. Honestly, it's a lot of bad for the most part because there wasn't a lot of great in this game. I thought what was unfortunate is that we couldn't get a drive sustained early because of, you know, just a couple factors, right? You have the incomplete pass to Sam Laporta, which originally I thought was tipped. It may have just been an underthrown pass watching it back. I couldn't really tell on that one. Then you had the sack on 2nd down where they get a free rusher off the slot, puts us in 3rd and long. We check it down underneath because their linebackers do an excellent job in zone coverage. They get depth, take away the first down marker, so then we go underneath. Little things like that offensively didn't allow us to really stay into the game, tied along with the fact that defensively we gave up touchdown. We were never in a position to really keep anything going. And then by the time our offense did get going, where it felt like we did a great job of simplifying things in terms of simplifying what they could do in coverage, utilizing the play action, setting up some of the screen plays that we'll take a look at, we didn't score on those drives. So you get a 4th down and 15, one of the best throws, probably the best throw of the game from Goff, huge 4th down conversion. No, you held on the play, so you're backed up. All right, we had drops in this game, so now you don't get points there. Then you come out of half, drive the ball down the field, really nice, really good looking, and then you don't score. multiple plays over and over and over, same coverage in the red zone, inside the 10, you couldn't punch it into the end zone. So we never were able to make it a game. And then at that point, you're down 35-0. You know, defensively, they weren't always just dropping back, but it felt like a lot of times it was quarters coverage, we'll go underneath, and because of that, I don't really feel like it's necessary to go into a lot of those plays, because the game was really out of hand at that point anyway. So, with that, now, one thing we saw defensively is that it was very simplified. I think that's the way that Dan Campbell put it. They wanted their players to play fast, and this would be an example of that. Here's a cover 3 look from the Lions. It was a lot of the coverages they had was cover 3, cover 1 on third down, so they would man up, and then they would play quarters. That started to mix in as the game, I felt, kind of went on, and that was fine too. I thought schematically that made sense. Of course, the 3rd and 11, they give up the first down with Will Harris in coverage there. He gives up the outside in a quarters look. We can't do that, and they pick up the first down, but I didn't have an issue with what we ran schematically. I think you looked at other teams, and it made a ton of sense with what the Lions did. It was very simplified. I think, if anything, we didn't really disguise a whole lot. It didn't feel like we were baiting things or trying to set them up offensively. And look, we also had multiple opportunities to get off the field. So it wasn't just like, what did we call? I mean, you had a 3rd and 11, didn't get off the field. You had a 3rd and 7, didn't get off the field because you have a defensive holding. They run it again, and then the guy's wide open in man coverage. Like, you had opportunities to still get off the field. Even on the fumble, you had a roughing the passer after a great defensive play because Hutchinson couldn't see the ball, hits the quarterback, and you rough the passer, they move another first down. And that would be the only thing for me, is I thought we could have maybe tried to hide some things, maybe create a little more confusion. But to be honest with you, I thought they did a great job of just attacking our front 7 and confusing those guys. And that's what really I thought got us in this game. Which, if the Lions said, hey, we want to go get an edge defender because that way we can take Jack Campbell off, you know, the line of scrimmage more often, maybe utilize more as an off-ball linebacker, that could make sense. That could absolutely make sense. So it's something to keep an eye on, of course, quarterback as well. We'll talk about that more. So first play we take a look at here. First thing, I was very interested about this coming into the game was, would we match their personnel? Well, here inside the 10, the Lions did not match their personnel. One thing that we've done inside the 10, inside the 20, is play a lot of guys in the box. Here, you can see we're spread out a little bit because of the fact that we have, you know, a 3-by-1 look on this play. So we have linebackers in the slot. Derek Barnes starts to kind of cheat in here. And you can see we're not manned up. We're zoned up on this play. But you have Campbell in the slot. You have Derek Barnes in the slot. You have Alex Anzalone in the box, as well as Tracy in the box. They kept that safety in the box with a lot of the cover 1, cover 3 they were able to do. This is one of the games that I actually walked away from this season and felt like we were inconsistent on the interior. A lot of games this season, I've walked away feeling like, man, we won the battle up front in the inside. Our defensive tackles won the battle. Lee McNeil, Benito Jones, Isaiah Buggs. They still had a lot of good plays, but there was also a lot of plays where you're like, yo, I don't think we won that battle. We did not win at the point of attack there. And this was probably the first week that I thought I felt that way the most. So again, up front, I just didn't think we won the battle a lot of the time. In this case, this was actually good. You're going to see here, they're going to bring the running back over. They're going to give you that read look right there with the play action. So what that does, Aiden Hutchinson now is going to crash down. It's also going to pull Tracy Walker out. So as Aiden Hutchinson crashes down for the back, Tracy then can spill out to take away the quarterback. Then up front, you can see they have 2 big guys in there handling some business. John Kaminsky's on the edge as well. Alex is going to fill, and you could see maybe there's even a run lane there. But this pass is open. I thought there was passes that were open in this game that they just did not throw. Like this pass right here, you could have absolutely thrown this. I mean, we're in cover 3, so you're kind of singled up on this side. Will's playing it off, understandably so, but I thought Tracy did a nice job. He spilled out for the quarterback, then he gets into the passing lane. Lamar tries to take off, and then he makes a really nice open field tackle there, shut that thing down. Tracy didn't have a perfect game, specifically when he was matched up one-on-one. Mark Andrews got him a couple times, one time with a flag, the other time with the touchdown with no help, or maybe he was expecting some help, but that was a good play from Tracy Walker. We could not sustain offensively. Now, I did not think that this was by any means Jared Goff's best game as a Lion, okay? I don't think this was great. Against Tampa Bay, thought he played one of his best games as a Lion. Did not think this game fell into the same category. One, credit to them. They did a good job, I think, causing some confusion with some of the looks that they could get pre-snap and roll out of it, like this, for example. They're going to roll down on the play. They're going to run cover 3, but they give you a lot of different looks in the sense of a lot of times when it felt like we'd go to these 3-by-2 sides, you know, the 2 receiver side, they would rush that linebacker who's usually in underneath zone coverage. They would allow Kyle Hamilton to just roll down and basically cover multiple zones. Now, this case is a little bit different because they're dropping out. They only bring a 3-man rush, so they drop out their edge, and basically they take away the middle of the field, only bring a 3-man rush on this play. Now, what I thought they would test us is make us complete passes outside the numbers, and I think they did a really good job of that. They tried to make us live outside of the numbers in this game, and a big part of that is their linebackers are very good in coverage, so they try to keep us outside the numbers, and I thought they did a really good job of that in this game, making us play outside the numbers. And we didn't have a ton of success consistently. As that game went on, I thought it was better, but it wasn't consistent enough, whatever that reason may be. In this case here, you could see Amon-Ra St. Brown working on the slot. We kind of adapted, I think, to that matchup a little bit. See, with the slot cornerback here over St. Brown, you can see pretty nice job, I think, from the slot. He did a really nice job on St. Brown matching the stem a lot of times in this game, but St. Brown gets into the contact here. That holds that flat defender because he's in zone. He's not manned up on this play, so it really does isolate the one-on-one out here with Jameson Williams and that route because they don't have the underneath defender. And you can see there's a little fake. I think he's looking underneath. Edge rusher drops out, takes away Josh Reynolds, so the easy hitch. Then you run this deep corner route. You can see the slot cornerback is kind of sticking inside with St. Brown. So with the timing of this route concept, you can see now it's time to throw this ball to Jameson. And this one I thought was a comeback route because I think he pulled him way too far back to the ball. That was the biggest thing there. Jameson, of course, has a lot of speed, so it's like you got to be very anticipation heavy when you throw to Jameson. But in this case, I thought he just pulled him back too far. Still a catchable ball. He actually did catch it, just didn't get his 2 feet down here, and that was one of the incomplete passes that we had that set up a third down. Then we had a blown block, and we had an immediate sack.
Now, I think one of the real positives you can take away from a game like this is learning how to play against a defense that wants to take away certain things that you like to do. Like, for example, the middle of the field. Here in a cover 6 look, the Lions started to utilize a whip route with St. Brown by pulling both their slot receivers, the inside and outside slot, vertically. That way they could pull out that outside slot corner and then bring him back to hit St. Brown underneath and get some chunk plays that way. That way it's not outbreaking, but he comes back to the middle, but he's forced downfield by the vertical releases. Here early in the game, some things we just didn't connect on. Like, this is man coverage. You got the safety on Laporta, and we just didn't connect on that throw. I think that was a fine read. It was the right place to go. You could see underneath the linebackers what they were doing in coverage. They did a really good job. So in the second half, like I talked about, this is some of the things I thought the Lions started to utilize. Here you get that jet motion, but a fake toss. Linebackers are very good at getting depth, but here utilizing that fake toss and then the backside crossing route basically takes them out of the play. It pulls them away from it, and it singles up that receiver one-on-one. If the game is closer, maybe you can keep some more of those plays alive as the game goes on. Or a play like this, getting them into quarters coverage, then being able to utilize those slot routes. It's still good coverage here, but with Laporta, one-on-one versus an underneath defender. Coming into this game, what did I say? I said I felt like their linebackers like to stay between the box. And you could see an example like this. Here's another quarters look. Look at the depth of their linebackers. Takes away Sam Laporta's crossing route. Patrick Queen dives on the back, but then gets depth, takes away the underneath route. So they take away the middle of the field. So adjustments like this, the Lions had to make. Linebacker wants to stay in the box. Okay, cool. We're going to start throwing some screens. Let's hit a quick screen tunnel. And even this one didn't go extremely well, but the screen started to open it up. And we're going to show one later, which easily could have been a touchdown, but sometimes you can look at the positive as this is a team that's in the AFC that's taking away what we want to do. Now we have to look back on this and find out where if a team's going to throw this at us again, how do we combat it? What are we comfortable with offensively to still move the football and take advantage of what they're trying to take away? Lions said coming into the game, they expected that Baltimore was going to have a different game plan because they've had for every team a different game plan.
Showing you the All-22 version of it, but if you watch that video, it was this simple. Lions going into cover one defensively. It was one of their early game plans, so they're manned up here, manned up here, manned up here, and the big question here is the short motion. So they utilize short motion, and this is where the communication comes in play with Cam Sutton and Kirby Joseph because both of these guys are manned up. You can see Cam Sutton, he points Kirby Joseph, go take that, go down, take that receiver that's motioning towards the outside. Kirby Joseph, I think his body language is sort of kind of slowing down, force Cam Sutton to start to step that way, maybe just trying to do too much on this play, because if you watch here, once he points that way, then he starts to take his steps towards the outside. He releases towards the outside. Then Kirby Joseph does drive and take away that route. Now Cam Sutton's way behind on the play, and also it's a really well-ran route, right? He didn't run this to a post. He flattened that thing out. Rashad Bateman ran this really well, and he didn't give us a drop. That would have been nice. But he flattened this thing out right here, bam, and that didn't allow Tracy Walker to even see the route, because Tracy's trying to show too high the field. He never even sees the route coming with how flat they run it, and he breaks it really towards the sticks here. So now Cam Sutton doesn't really have any inside help because Tracy Walker's not finding the route, and it's an easy wide open pass. You can see, they almost missed that one, to be honest. And look, the Lions had wins in terms of they won against their offensive line in terms of getting pressure. Like, it's kind of the same thing that was heard against Seattle a lot of times. Like, wow, they got no pressure. It's like, yeah, there were plays where we didn't get pressure, but there was also plays where we did get pressure. But when you have guys running wide open, it doesn't matter. There has to be a marriage between it. You want to at least force a guy to get past his first read. At least. When this is the case, the pressure does nothing. Winning your offensive, it doesn't do anything unless you have a free rusher, because he's going to get held for a second and the guy is literally wide open. You can't have guys wide open or you're going to get chunk plays. It's just how it works. Now, here defensively, they do a little creativity, little fake end around. They run the jet with the sweep on top of it. And really the main thing I would point off is the offensive line did a great job for Baltimore. They got a strong offensive line, and this thing was crafty. He's going to show kind of that zone blocking scheme towards the right. Watch Linderbaum, the center. All of them are going to flow one way, and then the timing of this, he's going to break it back outside. What that does is it holds Jack Campbell. Jack Campbell's going to kind of move with the offensive line, and then when he jumps back outside, Campbell can't get outside. So now he gets sealed off on the play. Now Brian Branch, who's forcing it back inside, but he's going to get blocked up by the lead tight end. The ball carrier hit him. He was just going, and Julian Okwara was not moving like that at that time, and he's unable to get a hand on him, and you can see it's a really good block by Linderbaum. They get us up to the second level, and then this was the touchdown that they had, in which we talked about as well in the takeaways video. Again, good play by them, testing our young Sam Backer, in this case, in Jack Campbell, because he's on the line of scrimmage. Couple things. First thing that I like about this is they go with two tight ends in terms of they're balancing out the formation with Isaiah Likely. And what I like about that is that his attention can go to Isaiah Likely. If there's no tight end on his side, he is not thinking to deal with that tight end. So he may react to this beneath route that Mark Andrews is going to run a lot better, but he doesn't. And I think seeing Isaiah Likely in line on his side crash down to block, I think it gave him that mindset like, okay, he's blocking, now I can potentially get upfield or really focus on the quarterback, mainly focus on the quarterback in this play. Because again, the Lions are going into cover 3 defensively. And that may be the biggest thing, is like when they knew we were in cover 3, the biggest issue with that is that they can try to, and sometimes we still do well, but they can try to maybe isolate certain defenders that they want to attack. Alex Anzalone, he sees the tight end release underneath. He gives that communication to Derek Barnes, but Derek Barnes, one, I don't think he realized that message, but I don't think it would have mattered because Jack Campbell's, I don't know if he's going to get that message anyway. But two, Jack Campbell also, because they're going cover 3 and they're not blitzing, he's not the flat defender. Derek Barnes is playing that hook zoner area. This is your flat defender. Jack Campbell is. So when Campbell sees the tight end inline block, now his attention goes to the quarterback because all the focus is on Lamar Jackson taking off, because if you look at it, how did they score the first time on us?
This was the first touchdown that they had, and you can see Jack Campbell here. He realizes the motion across from the tight end on this play, and he's signaling to John Kaminsky to kick inside, probably to play that B gap because now the tight end is no longer over there. And when he does that, honestly, if Kaminsky was a little bit quicker, he probably gets a tackle for loss because the guard pulls away and he had a chance in the backfield. But then Jack Campbell, you can see, who's playing outside of the tackle, you can see the lane get opened up as on the interior they get really good movement with Ali McNeil, who's playing that 3 tech. He gets pushed off the spot, and then they get up to Alex Anzalone at the second level. Derek Barnes is trying to shift into the A gap, and you can see they end up creating a really big run lane, so he actually leaves the outside and he crashes in, and that's when the quarterback takes off and walks into the end zone.
And once that happens, once he's saying that to himself, he sees tight end block, he's like, oh, Lamar Jackson didn't do me like that. Now he's focused on him. And by the time he sees the beneath route, who's running full speed Mark Andrews, he's a step late and he's wide open on the play. Now Derek Barnes, he's feeling his run lane responsibility. He could have tried to get out there maybe a little bit faster on this play. I could see that. I think both the linebackers had a little bit hit and miss in this game, but that's not technically his zone. I want to jump in here and talk a little bit about our partnership for this season with BetUS, a leading online betting platform offering a wide range of sports betting and casino games, from the most popular sports, basketball, baseball, of course football, that's the time right now, all the way to esports. Well known for their security, reliability, and customer service, which I had a great experience with firsthand, them reaching out to me because they didn't want me to miss out on a deal once I signed up. And it's very easy to sign up. Use that top link in the description. You deposit at least $100, you can get a 125% match. You click that link, it'll take you to a page where you click bet now, and in 3 pages you can be signed up with BetUS. There's also tons of different ways to bet with BetUS. Outside of casino games, if you want to go the sportsbook route, you can go to pre-game betting, whether that's over-unders, spreads. You can utilize prop bets, which we do shorts on now every week, some of the game props that I like for each upcoming Lions game, all the way to live betting and parlays, which are just a ton of fun, just to see what kind of crazy idea you can come up with.
You can have these little specials, like for example, today, as I'm recording this, if Chase Young was to go to another team, of course, like a trade, the Detroit Lions are favorites to land Chase Young.
Features in there which I really like for example, the props builder, where you can build out a prop with a specific player. Maybe you think Khalif Raymond's going to have a big day. You can build out a player prop for that player, whether that's receptions or yards, maybe it's touchdowns. Still have tons of different ongoing promotions available right now, whether you're a new customer or you're a existing customer that's just re-upping with BetUS. There's tons of different promotions that are available right now. My favorite parts of BetUS is their loyalty program. If you place wagers on BetUS, you can work your way up tiers on BetUS, earning different rewards such as bigger bonuses or welcome free play or free payouts. And utilize that top link in the description. I know a lot of you guys already bet during the NFL season, so if you want to follow along with the shorts that I make and maybe some of the bets that I like for the week, click that top link, sign up with BetUS. At very least, you don't even need to deposit money right away. You can just look around, just see what's kind of out there, just take a look at the website, but it's definitely worth doing, especially if you're already betting. Again, if you have any questions like customer service issues, they have an FAQ on their website that you can go to, or you can get into contact with them utilizing live chat, email, and phone support. So again, shout out to BetUS for supporting this channel, our partner for the NFL season, and let's get back to the video. This is what I talked about. I thought our defensive line was inconsistent in this game in the interior. And if you're going to watch here, you're going to run this outside zone run. Out of the pistol look, here's the outside zone. They're almost actually stretching this play, to be honest with you. But here's the real key to me in this one. It's the interior, because we were asking them to handle a lot of work up front. You can see Aleem McNeil doing the 3 technique, Benito Jones in the 2-eye. He's inside shading that guard. And when you just look at it, and you look at gaps responsible for wise, you can already see where the issue comes into play immediately on this one. So if Aleem McNeil is primary B gap because he has a 3 technique, and let's just say Tracy Walker has the C gap outside of the tackle, and let's say Agent Hutchinson has the D gap outside of Patrick Ricard trying to set that edge. So now you're looking at, okay, Alex probably has the right A gap. Here's Benito Jones primary left A gap, Derek Barnes B gap, C gap. Okay, you can see that on paper. The second level clean specifically here with a guy like Tracy Walker, I think, in the box. But if you notice on the backside, John Simpson, he was, I thought, the most inconsistent offensive lineman that they had, but he had some good run blocks that springboarded some plays. And you look at a play like this as an inside shade, watch him jump in front and seal off this block. So now he's sealed off on the play. So now that backside A gap, no one has it on the play. So now you have Alex Anzalone. If he's responsible for the right A gap, and Aleem McNeil, who's playing upfield, he's getting into the right guard's chest, and then they double team right here, and this backside A gap is completely vacant. Okay, maybe Aleem McNeil's handling that right side a little bit. So Alex has to worry about that. So he's kind of filling, but he's not jumping in front on this one. Now you could point to a guy like Tracy Walker and maybe say he could get upfield, but Tracy Walker, he's outside of the tackle. He's probably playing more of the C gap, so he's trying to stay in front of the tackle on the stretch play. So now with this backside sealed off, Alex Anzalone's going to crash down, but you can see now Aleem McNeil can't get back in front of his offensive lineman either. And once that becomes the case, Aleem McNeil, you can see he kind of presses down. He kind of like almost like pushes Aleem McNeil like, hey, get out there. I'm going to fill back here on Tyler Linderbaum. I'm going to fill this cutback lane. But as that happens, you can see then Aleem McNeil can't get back in front of the right guard on this play. And now he takes off and he has a huge rushing lane. Tracy Walker at the point of attack, that's just not a good matchup. Him on Morgan Moses is not going to go well. You can see it clearly does not go well right here. And they get a big run play. We can come back to and look at something very similar. Take a look at this. So they utilize the jet motion, but notice it's not going to be a jet handoff. So when you see it, watch John Kaminsky. He jumps outside of the tight end originally. Then he notices, okay, he's not getting the ball. So now he works back head up with the tight end on this play. Well, again, if we're watching here, look at the interior. Look at the A gap on this play. So 2-eye, 3 technique. Watch this. Isaiah Buggs got sealed off on this play. And you can see John Simpson again. He seals off Buggs. And once he does that, now you create that run lane that he can get through. Aleem McNeil's going to sit himself down as that 3 technique. You can see Tracy Walker is shifted back into the box. So he's handling some of the run here. There's really nobody in the A gap, right? The only guy that would be in the A gap is Isaiah Buggs. He could have the left A gap. That'd be the only guy there. But you can see there's no one else even in that spot. So Aleem McNeil, maybe he's trying to press B2A. Let's play that gap and a half look. He's not 2 gapping. He's not playing a head up technique, but maybe he's trying to press between play the B gap and push it into the A gap. Well, he doesn't really get a lot of push, but he holds his ground pretty well there. But if you're looking at it like that, you have to look on this backside, because once John Simpson seals up this block, now Alex Anzalone, he's going to crash down, because if Isaiah Buggs is responsible for this left A gap, if that's his primary responsibility here. Alex Anzalone's going to come down and take away this tackle. That frees up John Kaminsky, of course, with the read option potential on this play. It's a full 2-on-1 here with John Kaminsky, and if this thing gets upfield, the tackle has no one to block. He can get up to the second level. That's a huge play. Or if, of course, he gets around John Kaminsky, that's a huge play. They utilize Ricard to go up here and block, try to seal up Derek Barnes. He decides to pull it down with Alex Anzalone coming down to fill, and then, of course, John Kaminsky sitting on the outside, but no one's in the A-gap. Once Isaiah Buggs gets sealed up, no one's there. And again, another huge run play going at Tracy Walker, really putting him in the action. It's like this. Like, plays like this just can't happen. You understand the attention that you give to Lamar Jackson, but Cam Sutton here, cover 3 defense, he's the outside third, he can't crash down. Now, again, tight end and quarterback, they both played it well, they played the fake well. Lamar really looked like he was taking off here, right? He tucks it, he's looking like he's going to run. You can see Mark Andrews on this play, kind of releases towards the inside, like he's trying to pick up a real block here. They're pulling linemen. But if he crashes down, there's no one else out there. That point, you're asking Kirby Joseph to get out here on the opposite side of the field, and he's just not fast enough to get out there, and it's a huge play. That's just one thing that cannot happen, is him diving down when you look at a play like that. I talked about when you kind of went to a one receiver side like this, for example, they bring across Jamison Williams. That is when you have a single receiver on one side. Now, they have the back, but it's a 3-by-1 look offset to the right running back. When that happens, Patrick Queen is then going to rush, and they're going to drop off their edge rusher on the opposite side. They're going to get an extra defender on that side, which means that once he blitzes on the play, or just rushes, I guess I should say, because it's not technically a blitz, that's when Roquan Smith is to drop towards the opposite side of the field to fill kind of his zone responsibility that originally would have been handled by Patrick Queen on the play, but he's blitzing with the receiver going across the formation. See, they're going to run a little clear out route here with Sam Laporta on the bottom. He's just going to push vertical, and you notice like it almost looks like he's kind of working at like 80% speed, and then he starts to put on the gas a little bit as he sees the kind of safety Kyle Hamilton working down on this play right there. But I don't think the goal was necessarily to cut off Kyle Hamilton on this play. They just wanted him to try to overreact and get towards the outside. And the way they did that, Khalif Raymond just immediately attacks the sideline. They know that, hey, or the safety's thinking at it like, hey, if I get picked on this play or rubbed with Sam Laporta on this play and I can't get out there and he throws the flat, that's a big gain for them. So understanding that, you can see that Laporta kind of pushes it, but he doesn't actually like rub into the safety on this play. Khalif Raymond breaks it down and works back to the ball. Now your outside zone defender is clearly on the outside, and you can see your off-ball linebacker who's working to the opposite side of the field. You can see it right here. That's really the only guy that you got to worry about, and you got to pick up a block here. And they set up a little tunnel there with Khalif Raymond, and that was a pretty nice design. Play is kind of back to the point that I made earlier, where even if you have a win on the defensive front, if you have a wide open guy in coverage, it's really not going to matter. It's not going to show up as pressure. So unless it's a super clean win where you're immediately getting there, or you have a free rusher, it's just not going to matter. In a case like this, Ali McNeil's going to get a win. Now, it's not immediate, but it's pretty quick. He gets a win on the right guard on this play, and he was right there for a sack. We also missed a sack in this game with Aiden Hutchinson, but in this case, we have a guy wide open. Now, I'll give credit to Baltimore because this was actually a really good design play. They got the guy wide open, and that's what a lot of this game was them just having guys wide open. It kind of felt like the reverse, where offensively we were able to get guys open. In the past, they had everybody open seemingly, and this was a nice design, so I'll give them credit. They run a little chip here. They're going to bring down Josh Paschal, the edge defender, so they're going to take him out of the play. Our 3 underneath zone linebackers are all going to shift with the 3-by-1 look, so that makes sense. And here's really the key though. The timing between the number 2 receiver, the outside slot, and the outside receiver on this play is what makes it so difficult. Because as you're going to see, this outside receiver is going to push vertical. So that's going to open up and pull Cam Sutton out of the play as that deep quarter coverage. He's already taken out of the play. Now on top of that, Kirby Joseph opens up as well to play and bracket that thing in because he's the inside leverage. So he's already opened up and he takes that away. One thing that we've seen teams do against us, whether that's playing the man look or here in quarters, is run these out routes. They get past our backers and then they break it out, because that, for the safety position, if they're trying to play over top, a lot of times we can't get over top of that because we're bracketing in high-low, but when they break towards the out route, now they're getting away from our zones. And in a case like this, you're going to see with Brian Branch here, the timing, they're going to run this out route, and then they're going to break it back upfield. And our DBs are already pulled out of the play. I mean, you could look at this and say, well, if Brian Branch could have dropped this off, passed it to Cam Sutton, and Kirby Joseph could have took Zay Flowers, yeah, that actually would have worked. But on this play with the timing, they're already pulled so far downfield. By the time the slot breaks upfield vertically, now Brian Branch has to go with that and take that thing away. That way, that thing is not wide open. Then underneath is where you have the issue. This is where you get the out route. So Jack Campbell on the inside leverage, it pushes vertically past him, and then he breaks the out route immediately. So Jack Campbell, if anything, you want to see him, I would think, float that direction. Now, naturally, he would say, okay, I got Brian Branch out there. He's the outside zone defender. I have Brian Branch, so I can pass it to him. That's his zone. You can see at this point in time, Brian Branch is still there. However, they're not going to run two guys to the exact same area, right? They know better. They're not going to run two guys right on top of each other. So that's where the issue comes into play, because if Campbell passes that off to where Brian Branch would normally be, now his focus comes right back to the running back who's leaking out. Now all of a sudden, once Branch gets pulled out of the play, he is wide open. And at this point, now his focus is clearly on the running back here as Lamar just stands in the pocket, and he goes right over top of Jack Campbell on this play. Campbell doesn't find this route. He doesn't even seemingly look for it, and I would say you would like him to, because Alex Anzalone, yes, he's watching the quarterback on this play, so you can understand why maybe he's got his eyes on the back as well as the back starts to break into his spot of the zone, but he doesn't find the tight end again. And on the backside here, I think it was a nice play. Tracy Walker diving down from his quarter spot to take away the late delayed Rashad Bateman to take that away. Will Harris also dropping out on this play, but that's where the issue comes into play. So even though you went up front, you still have a guy wide open, and it's still a big chunk play. And like this was a good play that we made, but we had a flag on top of it, so it really was all taken away. But it was still a good play, so I'm going to showcase it. Here's cover 3 again. Safety into the box against the 3-by-1. Lions cover this up well. Tracy Walker gets into the flat. I liked his zone coverage a lot in this game. Alex Anzalone, I really liked his zone coverage as well. There's other plays that I could have showed. I liked him at zone, the depth that he gets. He's very good at doing that. Here's Barnes, also Will Harris. One of the cleaner reps, honestly. He's working on a tight end, Isaiah Likely, but you could see him get flipped, turned around, sticks with it still. Cam Sutton at the top of the screen. So it's good coverage. So ultimately late, they're going to go back to the running back here, who's going to try to, as they see, slide protection, and the running back's going to try to kind of chip him out of the play, basically a little cut block, and then he can get the ball out quickly. Lions cover up everything immediately, so Hutchinson uses a spin move, keeps balance, and you can see he can't see the ball at this point. So he just sees the quarterback standing there, hits the quarterback, gets called for roughing. It was a good play by the defense. Ali McNeil, the awareness, got off his block, came out in space, made the play with Alex Anzalone as well, but it was roughing on that play. We ultimately got off the field because of a fumble, but that was still a good example of a good play. So at least want to have some good in here. There was some good offensively too. We definitely had some momentum, it felt like, moving the football. We just, once the first couple of drives happened, we started to get momentum moving the football. Again, I liked our game plan in terms of some of the play action usage. However, we couldn't finish the drives. And in this case, this is one of our better looks. We get man coverage defensively. They utilized a fast motion across here with Khalif Raymond. And what that does, you can see it's going to force the switch on the play. So the outside corner is going to take Khalif Raymond, who's going to work his way outside. All that does is create leverage for Josh Reynolds, who initially doesn't have outside leverage. Now when they switch, he does have outside leverage, and he breaks his corner out. Goff reads that, and you can see Gibbs, he's working in pass pro. He gives up a quarterback hit, which is why the ball comes out a little bit wobbly, but it's enough. It was enough on this play. He did enough. I mean, it did enough, and he picked up a big chunk. It was one of their best plays offensively of the game. Then, they show another blitz, and they're going to go cover one blitz on the play. You can see they're stacking the line of scrimmage. Goff decides to immediately break the pocket, which I actually don't have an issue with. I mean, you could say, like, well, he broke the pocket, that's why they're holding. And Sewell, the guy is working, as you can see, upfield. I mean, maybe it's a little bit of the case. He sees the 5 rushers bring the blitz on the play. He immediately rolls out of the pocket. He knows that he's got a one-on-one here with an outside corner, Marlon Humphrey, who's matched up with St. Brown. St. Brown's running a whip route, which can be a man beater if you got the receiver to do it. He beats it, and Goff puts it on him, and then he drops it on the play. And on top of that, we also get called for holding, so it doesn't matter. It comes back. And then you get a play like this. And we have an opportunity like this, where the Lions are going to set up a screen play, and you're going to watch. This one is set up beautifully. As you're watching this develop, I'm thinking touchdown. This is a touchdown. It's easily a touchdown. And then you realize it's not a touchdown because we couldn't get the ball off. Why? Hey, things got to line up. Things did not line up for us. Big V here immediately loses his block. I mean, it's immediate. Because it's so fast, it allows the edge defender, Clowney, to work inside and be completely unblocked as well. So they win so fast that if we would have had just a tick longer, this should be a touchdown. This should no question be a touchdown. They're manned up on the play. Goff looks right, pulls a single high safety on the play. You can see they use the drag route to basically kind of block off. As you're going to see here, the fast motion, then the drag. They block off the off-ball linebacker. You have one off-ball linebacker. There's your zone backer. This is the one that's manned up, Patrick Queen, and it's basically Patrick Queen one-on-one with Jahmyr Gibbs with multiple blockers in front. They get it blocked off here with Frank Ragnow. This thing is a touchdown. It's probably a touchdown, but you couldn't get it off because of a lost block. just the little things, man, because of everything that went into this throw. They're going into it again, another quarters look here defensively. You can see there's an underneath defender. He's just taking away Jahmyr Gibbs on the play. They have 3 underneath defenders, but one thing, again, as I touched on, they do a really good job with depth. So we see this like Alex. He does a really good job with depth, middle of the field. He'll take the tight end away. He'll take away the back. He's very good at doing that. He's very matchup sound in zone coverage. Both of their linebackers are. So this linebacker, Roquan Smith, he's going to get depth. He's going to work back to the sticks. So what does Goff do? Goff makes a really good adjustment. We've seen him do this before. He drops back. Pass protection holds up. There's a little bit of pressure there from Penei Sewell, which is ultimately why this thing gets pulled back. I should say it gets pulled back because Penei Sewell gets beat in the inside immediately by Odafe Owe. But Goff does a good job here, I think, and I think it was a little bit more of like, okay, I see where they're at in coverage, because this is a 4th and 15. We saw earlier we had to check it down because their linebackers were playing so deep. There was nothing over top. So in this case, he immediately steps up in the pocket. What does that do? It pulls Roquan Smith out of his zone just enough. You have an underneath route. It pulls him out just enough to hold him down and then bring back St. Brown over the middle of the field. Tied along with, you can see, he's going to look back. When he steps up in the pocket, he's going to look here at this outside corner, pull him back on the play. Then he can set up middle, not even looking there, go over top of the backer and hit St. Brown. It was his best throw of the day, but we held on the play and we're backed up again. So we talked about matchups coming into it, tackles versus their edge defenders. On key spots, their edge defenders won, especially when they know you have to throw. That makes it tough. And I love the play like this. We had a lot of looks at in this game. I think we had hit and miss reads with some of the cover 6 looks that they were giving us. You can see we really have one receiver to this side with our tight end inline, Brock Wright. So this cornerback's just going to sit underneath. This is your deep safety. And then you get the quarters look on the opposite side of the field. What I liked about this that I thought was so crafty, utilizing St. Brown as complete eye candy, again, to pull these linebackers down and set up a play action shot for us. The first time, how did we get it? We rolled Goff out of the pocket. We rolled him out of the pocket away from the linebackers, away from the middle of the field. We know they want to take that away. So in this case, we utilize St. Brown in line as a tight end to come around and be eye candy, because now everybody's got to focus on St. Brown. Everybody's focused on St. Brown because we know what he can do and how big time he is in our offense. So when you utilize him, not even to really run around, I mean, late he kind of leaks out here, but more so just to work behind the line of scrimmage, tie along with the eye candy of the run fake of Jahmyr Gibbs, that can help a ton. I think that was a nice little crafty tweak that they added to this one. Then when Goff sets back in the play action set, he can look here outside, pull this slot outside on the play towards Jahmyr Gibbs and set up this window. They still nearly got their hands on this one, but it just created enough of a window for the shot here. And then get a really nice misdirection look from the offense. Again, we had something going. We just couldn't finish off the drive. We had something. All right, this was one of the best run plays, I think, of the game. You can see they're going to do the jet motion. He's going to try to get up and block the edge rusher because they're going to seal down. Lineman shifts Broderick Washington. I think that's his name. Broderick Washington. I think it's Washington. It's Washington. He's going to slide to the 3 technique. He's going to get upfield as Big V pulls out of that side. So now as he gets upfield, Penei Sewell, easy seal down block. Now the tight end, Brock Wright, actually misses the edge defender here with a little sidestep, which Laporta to me set a lot of this up, because the pulling lineman is one thing to key on, but then when Sam Laporta sells it upfield and the linebackers see that and they start to dive on it, that sets a lot of this up. Plus, when he breaks back outside, he finds the edge defender and boom, picks up the big block and sets up this run and gives him a chance.
See it, the pulling offensive lineman got the linebackers to step down, but then it was the misdirection fake, which pulled the linebackers outside of their run lanes. And what that did, you can see Frank Ragnow kind of sneak his way up to the second level and allows him to seal off that block as well on the backer.
Then Gibbs just has to make a couple guys miss outside of it. But this one, we actually really pulled a very good linebacker unit out of the play. A lot of good sales right there. And then Jahmyr Gibbs making some big things happen.
I wish we would have seen more of these looks from the Lions in this game. This is a pin pull touchdown. It was the one touchdown that we had, which was a toss, and it was Jahmyr Gibbs taking off. I thought coming into the game, we would be able to utilize this offensively. And I like how they blocked it up as well. They pull the front side tackle as well as Penei Sewell all the way on the backside, but not like a guard on the play where the linebackers can read that. Instead, pulling the tackles, the front side tackle, and just playing through the speed of those guys. You see the wide receivers coming down and blocking on this play. Now, their box is lighter. You see the linebacker shifts towards the edge. They have 2 deep safeties because of the game situation. Maybe they would have tried this a little bit more at different times earlier in the game, but I would have liked to see us maybe try to utilize some of these looks a little bit more.
Case 2 plays, because this play we converted. All right, they're going cover one defensively, and this play we converted. Notice the alignments. You have St. Brown really tight to the line of scrimmage with a tight end. So you're actually going a 4-by-1 look. What does that do? Well, here's what it does. They want to go 2 off-ball linebackers. Who's taking Sam Laporta? The guy that's right across from him. So that means that this guy all of a sudden is that rat linebacker. So you don't have immediate help because there's a linebacker in between St. Brown and the rat linebacker, that underneath zone linebacker on this play. So for St. Brown, he's able to win and just go inside leverage on the play, which he's already given pre-snap because you're playing outside leverage as a slot, understanding I have help towards the inside with my linebacker, my safety. But because they put a tight end in between both, now it doesn't allow this linebacker to be that guy. This linebacker is that guy, which gives him just a little bit more room to make this thing work. Now this works, all right? St. Brown, he attacks inside, gets inside leverage. The linebacker tries to, give him a little bit of a hook on the way by, and you can see St. Brown stays on his feet. He plays with excellent balance. Goff is able to kind of move the pocket, find him, dragging middle of the field. This was a really nice adjustment. The reason I say it was a nice adjustment for the offense is because if you go a play back after this big chunk, this is earlier in the game, it was the 4th down that we didn't convert. This was really good coverage by Mollett on the play. But notice, where is he sitting again? He is sitting outside leverage. Notice, we don't have a tight end on this side of the field, all right? So there's that aspect. He knows he has inside help. He knows he has inside help. Where's the inside help? It's right here with that linebacker that's right next to him. So he's making it he's going to make it very difficult for St. Brown to get outside. So instead of the Lions trying to say, let's fight that, let's really try to get around him, they said, you know what, let's just release him inside and pick up the big chunk. This time, however, though, that's not what's going to happen because they're going to go cover one, and because the versatility that they have, they can hide it, right? Because you may not be thinking Kyle Hamilton on Josh Reynolds, that ain't going to happen. It is going to happen. They're cool with that. That's the versatility that they have defensively, is that they can allow Kyle Hamilton to just man up your receiver. Like, that's not many teams are supposed to be able to do that, but they trust that they can do that. St. Brown is going to try to win towards the outside, and he can't. Mollett does a good job. He does not give up the outside release here. So, boom, he sticks on top of the stem, and he does not allow St. Brown to get outside. So now he's pressing in that outside hip, and as he's trying to work and then break back to the football here, you can see that he's essentially pushing St. Brown up the field because St. Brown can't get down and back to the ball. So where Goff throws this with anticipation, he throws it back here, but St. Brown is consistently being pushed and forced upfield because he's sitting inside that hip. He's not allowing him to get back. If St. Brown won the outside leverage, this would make sense to throw it out here, but he couldn't get outside leverage and pull him back to the football because he couldn't get outside of the slot on this play. So the only place where this ball could have been put is over the corner and between the safety.
Now, disguising this look, they ended up putting a cornerback on Laporta. I thought he was covered up well. Then late on the play, the off-ball linebacker is going to sit over the middle, so he kind of takes that away. So you understand why I didn't throw that pass. Clearly, you can see why I didn't throw it to Josh. And then also, St. Brown was taken away, which he wanted to go to. But also a key to this play is you can see Jahmyr Gibbs underneath. He would have been the guy that, in hindsight, yeah, you could have thrown it to him because he just releases out of the backfield. The coverage is really late towards him, and he could have probably just took off for a first down. But you can understand why he didn't look to throw that pass. It makes sense not to go there.
Goff threw it as maybe you draw it up, and you could see that because of that coverage, he couldn't get him the football. So the next time they adjusted, said, let's not make it that hard. Let's just put an extra guy on that side, a 4-by-1. We'll go 4 strong, and because of that, it sets up this wide open route. So it was a nice little crafty play design. But here's what I didn't love from the Lions, okay? And I know I talked about this in the takeaway, so I won't spend a lot of time, but the inability to score against red zone cover 2 coverage. All right, when you get to these goal line spots, we saw the same thing against Green Bay, the inability to find a play that we can go to score here. Now, on this play, Goff missed the bottom of the screen here because it's 3-on-2, it's 3-on-2. He missed the little pick and then the wheel route on top. That was open, and I think you would like to see Goff get to that, right? Once he gets past the first thing not being open and he comes back to Jahmyr Gibbs, I understand he's waiting for Gibbs to break like this, boom, and he's going to try to fire that catch and run. I understand where he went, and that's why the ball is like, well, where's he throwing that? Because Jahmyr Gibbs never got outside. Linebacker sat outside leverage, understanding he's got inside help, and he never gave him the outside on the play. So, again, credit to the backers. This is just good coverage. He did miss the backside here, though. That's really what the name of the game was. Their linebackers in coverage did a really good job here. So, if anything, maybe you could have gotten his ear or something, been like, look, we have to get outside the numbers and try to attack there. Maybe make the primary focus this outside shot play because their linebackers were handling business. Instead, we tried, and I know Goff is more comfortable between the numbers. I get that. That's where I would try to go too. I talked about it coming in. The challenge is going to be, can we find a way to open up the inside of this defense? Because that's where we want to attack, and that's not where Baltimore wants us to go. Coming into this game, 32nd, I think, think it was in pass attempts outside the numbers. We don't throw there a lot. But in this case, that had to, I think, be, especially when the field gets condensed, where you sit back and say, we have to have our primary focus be outside the numbers. Because if it's inside numbers and the linebackers are involved, we're just not winning that battle today. And in this case, we did not win that battle. You can see what they try to set up, right? They run the little slant here. They're like, hey, we can pull the linebacker out of the play. And then St. Brown, he looks like he's breaking outside. So maybe the linebacker will open up, drop, get some depth. And that opens up St. Brown to run this, little angle route. No, linebacker stays disciplined, sits inside so he doesn't throw it there. Comes back to Gibbs, linebacker takes it away. That's incomplete. Then you come back on your last, your fourth down attempt here. They're in the same coverage defensively, even though they don't completely show it. You can see they drop out. They show different alignments at the snap, but they're still in that cover 2 look, which is just basically everybody drops and gets depth to the sticks, or the end zone in this case. But they covered up well. Again, you try to test their linebackers. You try to test Roquan Smith with a route that you ran against Green Bay. You're going to show like you're going to run and sit him down over the middle of the field right here, but instead then he's going to break back upfield with no safety help on the play. Why? Because Sam Laporte is running a corner route to pull this safety out. So you're getting a one-on-one with the backer here, but in this case, the backer just won that battle. He doesn't really separate. Now, maybe you could have tried to throw the ball a little bit higher. I think that's maybe the biggest thing, is maybe you could have tried to high point it a little bit more. It was really good coverage. Really wasn't a lot of room there anyway. But the point is, they won that battle straight up in that sequence. And that, again, didn't allow us to get back into the game. And then there's this play. And I'm really showing this because last time I showed it, we couldn't see the whole field. But we talked about this. Who did they attack? They attacked the youth of our linebackers. They attacked the front 7. And this was an example. Patrick Ricard's in line. Derek Barnes in man coverage. It's cover 1. He's got Patrick Ricard. We want to believe on this play. So now he motions across. So what happens? Alex Anzalone, it now shifts. Alex Anzalone is going to take Patrick Ricard seemingly on this play. He's taking that tight end. Why? Because Tracy Walker, who's in the box, is playing man coverage. He's manned up already on the tight end, Mark Andrews. So, okay, he's got Mark Andrews. He motions across. Alex Anzalone on that side of the field is going to take the jet motion Patrick Ricard. Okay, cool. Who's got the running back? Apparently nobody has a running back, okay? The only guy that would have the running back in that case would be Derek Barnes. Why? Because he's on that side of the field, and he moved that direction. Hey, someone has to have the running back. Here's what got him, though. Credit to the Ravens. This is crafty. Here's what got him, I think. They run the drag route. We know Tracy Walker has this tight end, so he runs the drag. He's probably not a zone backer. Why? Because the Lions are bringing 5 rushers. All right, so unless Jack Campbell's supposed to drop into coverage, if it's cover 1 blitz, you don't have an underneath zone linebacker. If you're bringing 5 rushers and you're in cover 1, there is no underneath zone backer. Everybody's manned up on the play. So there is no Derek Barnes is in zone. He's got somebody, but because they run this immediate drag, his guy goes away from him. They pull a lineman. So immediately he sees the pulling lineman. He's keying on the run game. Then he sees the quarterback read fake. Now watch Lamar. First step, where does he go? Outside. He jabs outside. Derek Barnes is keying all over that. I could see why you would. You're watching the polar. You're seeing the run fake. You're like, hold up, he might be taking this. So you step that way. Naturally, as soon as you step that way, the drag route's in your face. And he's like, okay, I'll pick that up then. Because Tracy Walker, he got kind of held up on this play. I'll take that away. Great, so he takes that away. Now the only thing could have been Tracy Walker dropping off and saying, okay, I'm going to take the back. Passing that to Derek Barnes, and Walker dropping off and taking the running back on this play, who is the guy that's seemingly not covered. Or Alex Anzalone, who seemingly has the tight end, Ricard, that motions across but stands in the block, and taking the running back. But when he sees him block, he just rushes the passer because he's just focused on the guy that he has. So again, there's no switch here. He just stays with the tight end, and the running back is completely uncovered, and you have a huge, I'm talking huge, this one is just still good. This one's still going to this day, actually. He's still running. He's literally still running. Okay. Yeah. Anyways, so those were some of the key plays, man. I didn't show everything. There's more that I could show. There was more good that I could show, too. It's not like everything was terrible. There was good within there. There was, I think, a handful of missed throws, I think, from Goff in this game. I thought it was not his best. I thought there were a couple times there were a couple misreads in terms of how, the slot would play it. But at the same time, we couldn't get anything sustained offensively. If we could have, we showed we can move the ball. I think we clearly showed that. We just couldn't get anything consistently sustained. I would keep an eye on the Lions in the receiver market as well. I heard Tom Kennedy came in for a visit. That would make sense for depth. Not saying that they have to. I don't think it's like a pressing need, like, yo, you better go get a top outside receiver. I don't think we need to, but it's something I keep an eye on because while Jameson, some of the catches, they're not the most easy, like the one that Goff kind of threw towards the outside shoulder, which you probably wanted to put it inside because of where the cornerback was technique-wise. Probably want to put that inside, put it outside, couldn't come up with it contested. They may look for something there that could be interesting with Kylie Freeman being injured, and then on top of that, he got injured in this last game, and then on top of that, Marvin Jones Jr., leaving the team, you're losing depth, but you also are losing that outside receiver. I know he hadn't done a ton, but you're losing kind of that catch and traffic piece. And Tom Kennedy's not that. So if the Lions want a guy like that, could be interesting for the trade market. Obviously, Mike Evans is top of that list for me. I think there's other interesting names out there as well. I don't think the Lions need to do it, but it's just something that I'm curious about as we get closer to the trade deadline, if that's something the Lions show any interest in, because I think it's very possible they could show some interest somewhere, maybe some team that is just not playing somebody, because there's a lot of those guys around the league across the board that maybe aren't just getting those snaps. So it's something to keep an eye on. But anyways, let me know your thoughts, comments below. We're going to move on from this one. We'll throw it in the trash. Watch the video. I appreciate y'all, but then throw it in the trash. We're moving on to the Raiders. Thank you for watching, and I'm out.
Always shout out to BetUS. Use that top link in the description. You'll see Marcellus Wiley pop up, and you can deposit at least $100. You get a 125% match. It goes in a little bank there on BetUS. I know that a lot of people are doing the sports betting, so this is really the best way to do it. Shout out to them for supporting the channel. And if you guys want to support as well, that's the way to do it. But also, I know y'all saw I snuck that in there. Chase Young. The Lions are the favorite to land Chase Young currently on BetUS if he's not with the Commanders. I know that's going to have some people fired up. People are going to be talking about that. I saw that today. I was like, hold up. I got to put that in there. So that's the kind of things that they offer, some special deals like that where you can bet on a player potentially going somewhere else where that could be. I've seen a lot of these things with Derrick Henry, but, you know, that one got me interested. You know, it did. I may have talked about him a little bit at the beginning. This may have been why. It's interesting. So anyways, shout out to BetUS, top link in the description, or betus.com/DoseOfDion, and I'm out.